One, we're seeing a Talia and Trundle ban, some pretty big focus going into that mid jungle that we have been talking about before.
And it also just plays into what Weibo would love to be able to leverage for themselves in the early state. Anytime you give Xiaohu a champion that can easily roam or have global power, that's always a big advantage to the way they play. Now, Weibo answer with Azir and Varus. Those are some top tier picks for the roles after the Talia gets taken off the table. And of course, Varus has been the highest priority AD carry we've seen. With the Gwen ban, I'm curious what top esports are trying to set themselves up for. If there's like a particular blind pick that 369 wants to go for. Is it just Rumble?
It's probably just from, it's the Yunara. Okay, I was wondering if we were going to get Yunara tonight. I know in the first series it was permabanned. We didn't get to see it too much, but this champion has been starting to take over. The Aurora already coming out here for Weibo is a flex for both Breathe and for Xiaohu. So if top esports elect to go for that Rumble, I do expect that to be the matchup that we see for Breathe.
Almost daring top esports now to pick the Rumble, and Breathe would just totally be comfortable in matching it with his own Aurora. And still, you're hiding what Xiaohu's mid lane pick has to be. So I'm a big fan of what Weibo has already assembled for themselves. Now, with the Kai'Sa early lock-in, this kind of feels like you are preemptively setting yourself up to a dive composition, and top esports are going to answer with Cyclone from the Wukong and Annie for Creme.
Right now, Weibo do have a lot of burst, like you were kind of noting with this Aurora and the Kai'Sa. You can play dive. I think that one of the ways you can also kind of pivot in this draft is play a composition that's going to be very flexible in how they move, the invisibility from both of these two champions, the movement spells that they both have, and now with this Xin Zhao for the dueling, I think that Weibo have a really formidable comp when we talk about playing on 1 and 2 item power spikes. Whereas top esports, it is all about the setup. I think this is a JackeyLove composition already coming on through, and Kanavi can play so aggressively when he has this Annie.
Yeah, Creme is not the star here when you are playing the Annie. You are the setup, and you're trying to facilitate big plays off of that first item, Malignance. And if you can get the ball rolling with a big AoE stun, or just guarantee a point and click with that Q long-range flash, then Kanavi can follow up with the Cyclone, and you're just creating so much disruption for JackeyLove to run the show. Now we're into the second round of pick and bans here. Already taking the Alistar off the table. That has been a crisp special for quite some time, just making sure that he has denied it, as well as Weibo trying to eliminate some potential blind picks for 369 in the top lane.
I have to imagine that this is most likely, honestly, I don't even think these are going to be like super blind. If we're Weibo, I kind of would like to see maybe you just try to snap up a top laner here. I have a feeling this is just going to be Aurora mid. You're going into Annie. This matchup is completely fine, especially early when we're talking about Xiaohu and how he can play for priority early. I think maybe just trying to snap up a support here on 4 is more important. Not only do you take that away from top esports, at least an option here for Hung, champions like Alistar and, Rel really start to speak to me and help out this Yunara.
Being able to set up and follow more on the follow-up that top esports are already building for themselves here. Poppy has a great denial as well in case top esports want to continue with any other champions that can dash forward. The Rakan locked in. That is Crisp's choice going into top esports. And there's the rel that you were talking about, but what is going to be the top lane pick here for 369? Rumble is still available. Do they just want to slam that?
Rumble can be fine here. The issue is you're going to be going into a Xin Zhao and Aurora later on into the game. Could end up being a little bit more problematic. Again, I think that so far what we've seen from 369 is that his tank play is immaculate. I think he has been able to play some of the losing matchups really, really gracefully. And come team fights, he obviously has a huge impact there. So Sion, Ornn, these champions not too unsurprising. Now for Breathe, I think with the fact that Ambessa and Renekton are already gone, you do have a couple of options. Aatrox is the most popular one. He has also been willing to play Cassante in a lot of these, and that could definitely be really good when we're talking about how short range top esports composition ends up being.
Yeah, because this Yunara 575 range, not that much room to really operate if you are trying to dip, dodge, and weave away from a World Ender empowered Aatrox. But Weibo also recognizing that, hey, if we do not run over this composition early, there's a chance that Sion does become very hard to deal with later on. So Breathe's choice is just matching frontline for frontline, and this gives a little bit more stability for Weibo's 5-on-5.
Thankfully, Mark, if you're worried about your frontline dying as top esports, I think it's fine from a Weibo perspective. Kai'Sa's on this team. The Aurora passive is also really obnoxious. If Aurora does get nerfed, I really do hope they look at her passive. Getting 2 applications of this is just ridiculous if you go ahead and look at those numbers. So when we look at this from Weibo, not much has changed from what we saw at the very beginning. We got the Xiaohu, or we got the Xin Zhao, the Aurora, and the Kai'Sa here. Still feels like it can be a dive composition. However, again, I think the flexibility that they're allowed for themselves gives them ways out of this game that I don't think is necessarily the same case that we could make for top esports.
Yeah, it's nice that for Weibo, their direction can either be forwards or backwards, and it's just the flexibility that you mentioned, that they can adapt to what top esports are trying to throw their way. And if Weibo finds themselves swinging out the gate, which is not very typical for Weibo in the past, they're usually ones trying to catch up later on. It does give them that breathing room as we head closer and closer to the mid and later stages of the game on those item specs that you were mentioning. But for top esports, this team has been super dominant, and it's always led by Kanavi. He's not going to have the same early agency as the Xin Zhao with the Wukong, but as soon as he's hit level 6, you best believe he's coming up to a lane, or he's going to force a fight with that Cyclone. But you've seen the comps locked in, ready to go out. It's time to start queuing up. And let's see if we can see some magic between these two teams. It's Top Esports taking on Weibo Gaming for Game 1 of our second series.
Okay, let's go. So
Weibo guy kind of jumped the gun there. He
yeah, I saw that. We all heard that. So you know, we were doing good there. But already we're seeing some early sparring here. Top Esports trying to get early vision onto Tian. Something that we actually saw in the Weibo versus IG series was an immense focus onto Tian and his jungle pathing, finding him 3 times before 9 minutes, getting 3 deaths onto him, let IG snowball that early game in game number 1. They were able to get that early ward there, but they know that Tian's going to be on the top side here. I wonder where Kanavi is going to be looking. Is he going to try to immediately jump over this Dragon Pit wall and steal a camp away from this Xin Zhao?
It would be quite bold. Remember, Wukong can scrap early, but he lacks CC, whereas Xin Zhao, he can scrap and he has his own CC. So depending on where the lanes are pushed up in either favor for Top Esports or Weibo's mid and bot lanes respectively, that can influence what Kanavi ends up doing here. As we don't really see that much creative action from either side of the map here. Hong was trying to get a little frisky with that dredge line, but does not find a good trade.
Yeah, the biggest amount of damage we're probably going to see is from mid lane to electrocute users, and this matchup can be very, very volatile, especially, again, the passive from this Aurora. But point and click from Creme makes it a little difficult to dodge in some of these instances. Top Esports get priority from bottom lane first. And where is Kanavi going? Because I don't imagine that the Wukong really wants to try to go into the Cassante versus Sion matchup. I feel like you want to try to use some of your bot lane priority here. We're starting to see pings come on out. We might get some early scrapping in the jungle.
It is very easy for the Nautilus to set up the Wukong for success if he can get first roam. And with this massive shove that they are getting onto Light and Crisp, decent chunk. You called it. Kanavi now getting aggressive into the blue quadrant here. But there's a ward from Tian. So he knows that this invade is happening. The question is, will he try and walk on over with a cheeky smite steal? But it's already close to 600, and Kanavi has successfully taken away the blue buff. And I think Tian is just going to try to run over to the other side of the map.
Does he move over, or does he help his bottom lane here? Because this wave is going to push away.
Fast one on Creme. Look. He's pushed up way too far. He can at least burn his flash. He is compromised. Xiaohu's going to step up. Look for the slow. The stun comes out from Creme, but now Creme is just going to go down, and that's first blood for Weibo.
All right, Kanavi's going to reset. Creme will be able to teleport, and Sion's not going to be able to move here. So what does Tian end up opting for? Instead, he's going to go down camps, probably pick himself up one of these 2 scuttles. And while it might be a slight advantage in terms of experience here for Kanavi, Tian has now set himself up and his mid laner for success early on.
Creme, recognizing that he was dead to rights, does not bother burning the flash at all there. Because Tian invests his time into the kill, he does not get a chance to steal camps away from Kanavi. So Kanavi is still going to be overall up on camp pace, but Tian is just going to get aggressive in every lane that he can find. I don't know if he's going to kill 369 here, but maybe a flash. The Q3 lands from Breathe. That's the flash out of 369. Back onto the bot side of the map. Hong is getting aggressive onto Light. The slow from the W is not enough to find a kill, and now Kanavi is shut up to the top side. Tian still has a flash. He should be fine, but Breathe might be losing a lot of HP here. The knock up of 3 talent strike. 369 gets baited by Kanavi, and he does not have enough damage in the tank to get one back.
And now Tian gets access to respawned camps. He gets his Raptors as well. A little bit of early action here, and Tian loses the jungle war, but is winning his lanes the game right now. It's only a single kill in his mid and top lane, but these are really good conditions right now that Tian is setting up for his team, and what we needed to see from them, despite some of their early game woes in previous seasons.
For fans of Tian who remember his run with Top Esports last summer, he earned the Summer 2024 MVP. This is the form that we need to see Tian in now on this Weibo roster if they're going to be competitive with that 4th or 3rd spot going into Worlds.
All right, we have a little bit more time here. We come out of the early game in 5 minutes, and it's 2 kills and 700 gold here for Weibo. And Kanavi is only up 2 camps right now. He will go through and cycle most of his camps on the bottom side of the map. Already we kind of see that Hung opens up into mid, and maybe there's an early play onto Dragon. Top Esports have been really, really diligent about making sure they can stay aggressive and on these timers for these objectives. Light is on the top side, so they're swapping away from this. As soon as you see the Kaisa, this is Top Esports running towards this objective.
We're going to try to do their best to see if they can get any information set up for the Grubs after the Dragon is secured. But for the time being, Weibo will guarantee that they get all their resources before Kanavi can try and yoink away any after the Dragon take. Chris will at least get information. Oh my gosh, it's enough to stop the Dragon. That's big for Weibo.
I think the big part here is that Aurora is going to get pushed into mid first because Creme used his ultimate and then backed away. So, yeah, that's huge. Not only do Top Esports not get the Dragon, now they've executed this lane swap. I'll be honest here, though, Rafa. I think I would have preferred somehow being able to try to keep pace with this Yunara, giving the Scion the ability to scale. If they can catch 369, it's great, but he still has ultimate. I don't think it's meaningful. You're just going to now give this Yunara free time to hit onto Breathe and maybe get some more damage onto these structures.
Well, 369 does not have flash, and they're trying to step in front of him so that he cannot escape with the unstoppable onslaught. Creme is there. Maybe he wants to drop a stun with the Q. Not the Tibbers, though, because it's not available. And 369 throws out the ultimate, gets the knockup, but Tian will commit with the flash, picking up the feat of warfare for Weibo.
Too late there from 369 using the ultimate at the very end. Kaisa is still picking up all of these waves, and Breathe is going to do it well on the bottom side. This is the Weibo that we needed to have to be competitive against Top Esports with a season that has been so up and down for Weibo. Finally, maybe here in Split 3, they're kind of getting it happening.
It's a good look so far for the Weibo boys. Now, Kanavi has hit level 6. This is where he's going to be extremely strong. A teleport is coming in. I think that's from Hong here, thanks to the unsealed spellbook. Just trying to get some early priority and vision set up so that they can guarantee that they'll have advantage when it's setting up these grubs in the next 20 seconds.
It must be great to be Top Esports and a jungler, because all you're doing is running around, taking camps. Your support and your mid laner are moving off of their waves to help you here. It's got to feel good if you're Kanavi. He's now gotten 3 or 4 camps away from Tian, but none of those major objectives falling. Tian's going to start this up right now, and Kanavi is in the area, but you know that Top Esports will not have their bottom lane here in time.
And look at this. Tian is already pinging the missing on Grubs because they have it warded. They were expecting that Top Esports were going to immediately blitz for that objective. So Tian is now calling caution to the rest of his laners. Hey, Kanavi could be in the area. I'm working on this Dragon. I did not get contested at all. So now Weibo have an opportunity. If they get their bases off, as you see Xiaohu already using the recall right now, they might have a chance to still look for these grubs.
I think it's tough. Tian still has to do all of his bottom side camps. His bot lane's also going to recall. Chris will be active. He has a teleport from the unsealed spellbook, so he'll be ready to contest if they feel like it. But I think this might just be Weibo. Let's get back to our lanes. We have to take our timer. And for the time being, you know what this does mean, though? Kanavi's going to get even further ahead, though, individually, because he's going to get all of these grubs for himself.
Top Esports really putting in a big investment for their Wukong here, and it's definitely expected. We highlighted Kanavi to be the most consistent, or at least one of the two most consistent carries for this squad, and he has definitely been taking a role where he's just getting a lot of economy for himself. Now, Tian will find a moment to wrap around the all-out from Breathe. They're going to bring 369 right into the waiting arms, and Tian still had the 3 talent strike to fall after 369's flash, but that Sion is a little too tanky now. And Chris and Light might be in danger. Hong has the death charge, leads it on to Light. Immediate flash to guarantee another knock up there. Cyclone on to 2. And Kanavi will strike big with a double kill.
There's more. There's more. Xiaohu's here. Between worlds.
He's going to look for JackeyLove. He dodges and weaves, but he doesn't have enough damage there. Creme is now following up with a flash. Xiaohu has got to be careful now. He still has a flash, but is it worth it? He's on the wrong side of the map, so he might just die here unless he can get to this blast cone.
Wukong's here. Say goodbye, everybody.
And it's enough. Creme will get his revenge.
All right, finally we get to see some action here from Top Esports. They make the dive happen. They take away a wave and a half from this Kaisa, so JackeyLove at least gets some more of an advantage in his role. And this is the swing that Top Esports were looking for in this game. 3 grubs on a team that honestly doesn't hit towers as well as Weibo does is a huge steal for them.
They were definitely quiet in the early game, but like you said in the draft, this Wukong spikes hard at the level 6 mark, and he does not waste that opportunity as soon as it is available to him. Picking up a double kill, that should accelerate his gold, I think, to the point where he'll be able to get his Trinity Force off the next base here, taking probably 1 or 2 more cams. Creme has picked up his Malignant, so now these 1-item spikes are coming online for Top Esports. In this mid-game, even though Weibo started off strong, it's still going to be scary for these guys.
Trinity Force at 11 minutes. Already the Kraken Slayer done. You have the Malignants like you were just noting. If I'm Weibo, I'm trying to avoid everybody on this enemy team. I do not want to get into a fight with this this kind of composition. And even Hong, I'll be honest, you have this Nautilus with plated steel caps versus a Weibo that has a Xin Zhao, this Kaisa early. These are huge spikes, so whatever Top Esports want within the next 2 minutes is going to be theirs for the taking. We have Dragon on the bottom side of the map. We also have the Herald spawning in 3.5. Right now, the game looks even, but if this game is going to be going late, we need to see Weibo staying on top of these objectives.
And because this Tibbers cooldown is so low thanks to the power of Malignance, Xiaohu is just continuously going to get chunked out as Creme is fighting for priority, trying to give Kanavi control of this entire mid part of the map. And what's going to prevent Weibo from being able to get aggressive vision into these jungle entrances. And as long as Top Esports maintain that, even though that this Dragon still has about 1:20 before it comes up, I think Top Esports is going to have full control. And like you said, Weibo, they might just have to concede and wait for later spikes.
That's the best part of this, right? This feels like everything we talked about in the pre-show came true. Xiaohu, not necessarily dying or being down in the laning phase, but in terms of priority, some of the timers that he takes and some of the opportunities that Top Esports are looking for makes it difficult for Tian to ever walk away.
Oh! He gets interrupted on the grand entrance. That's not good for Weibo and Top Esports. Gonna benefit off of a free pick, and now Light is the only member here under this tower.
No way.
There's no teleports from Breathe, no teleport from Xiaohu. Light is getting completely surrounded. Maybe Weibo can bail him out. Tian is now here. Top Esports were not able to pull the trigger fast enough, so Light's life will be saved for now.
The great part about that is there was not all that much used, and now Xiaohu in trouble.
He's able to hop away. Decent chunk on a Kanavi. Tian's
Chris
gonna
is coming.
Between worlds, gets a big chunk, but Tian gets pulled in. Chris was there just a little too late with the grand entrance and the quickness, and JackeyLove now wants to find Xiaohu on the back end of it, but not going to be willing to pop any of his summoner spells to make that chase happen. But Dragon is up in 2 seconds anyway, and Top Esports, that's the objective that they wanted at the end of the day.
Think about it. A minute ago, we're talking about Creme pushing Xiaohu out of mid lane. And then we move into this bot lane play. I thought that Top Esports were taking a few too many timers to try to look for certain trades, but they then forced 2 of Weibo away back into their base. With them coming out of their base, it makes it difficult for them to kind of come back into this, and Xiaohu getting caught again makes it impossible for Weibo to contest that Dragon. So I think the best part about all of this is the fact that Weibo got the first dragon of the game. Delaying Top Esports on these objectives is going to keep them relevant and give them some more space here.
And Weibo just has to be careful about what fights they decide to opt into. Obviously, there is some risk tolerance, and you know what? We can fight here. We can afford to maybe flip this one. But if they do that too many times out, they're going to get outpaced super fast.
Look at this. In theory, this is a great play. Look how much damage they get down onto Kanavi. This dodge away from Crisp is beautiful. It makes it impossible for Weibo to ever get a trade kill here. Another situation where we're looking at the mid lane. Hey, Creme is playing the much easier champion to execute. He drops his ultimate, clears the minion wave, and there's nothing that Xiaohu could do to be able to match.
He has to give up so much just to be able to help Tian find that play, and the fact that they don't, it's not great for them in the end. It is only a just under 1,000 gold advantage for Top Esports. So Weibo haven't lost the game. They are definitely a little bit on the back foot now. But as we said before, Weibo are just trying to stall this game out. Give them time to hit the later spikes in the game, because when we look at Top Esports composition, the only real carries that are coming online later and later with each spike is still going to only be JackeyLove and Kanavi, as we might get frisky here in the mid lane, but it's just Top Esports getting posture for the Rift Herald.
So Weibo will have first move, or they're going to be first in the minion lane wave here. Top Esports, they want to look for a fight. They're trading.
They snag Tian. He pops the Crescent Guard, pushes them back. Breathe goes all out on Kanavi. That's a lot of good damage onto this Wukong. He's already compromised and forced to use the Cyclone. So Weibo might have a chance now to move into the topside river, depending on who they look for. Q3 forces JackeyLove to flash away from the quickness. Chris has to go back with the battle dance, and here comes Light. They find JackeyLove, and Weibo get a big advantage in the mid lane.
That pick onto him is huge. Breathe with a Q3, gets the knockback. JackeyLove tries to flash out, and a re-engage from Chris finds them. Top Esports, a little too aggressive, trying to find something. Instead, I think they should have used the Rift Herald to force Weibo to turn. Weibo do not have any of the grubs, and Creme had teleport this entire time, so a numbers disadvantage unavailable there for Top Esports. Kanavi's in the area. We're getting the teleport from Xiaohu. Let's see the lane allocations as we come out with Weibo grabbing themselves the Herald.
And this is where Weibo can really find themselves a nice advantage in the mid game with the power of their map trading and the map play. Looking back at the replay,
Kanavi just took way too much damage. The kidnap from Breathe, the all-out, making it so that Kanavi is no longer in this fight. I'm looking at our mid laners. Xiaohu can back. He has a teleport ready to look for it. Creme actually went and interrupted him. And what I love about these two AD carries is that these are like duelist marksman champions. They're willing to step forward, 1v1 enemy AD carry, and they're able to have so much mobility to fight. Breathe trying to get away with a 1v2. Crisp is in the area. We've got more members of Top Esports in the wings.
Just looking back at that replay made me appreciate Breeze's Cassante play even more. Just finding two crucial Q3s. First getting the flash, and then just still picking off JackeyLove when he had no means to disrespect the positioning of Cassante like that. Now, Breathe was getting pressured on the top side, but as you called it, because Crisp and now Tian are in the area, this Cassante is going to be safe for now.
What exactly are we doing? Like, Cassante's going to be fine, has all out, has flash. Let's just do our camps, Tian. Yeah, we could take a little bit of a breather. We don't have to keep fighting. We also have Herald that we can play for a minute before this next dragon.
Fighting's
I
so
know.
fun.
11 kills in 17 and a half minutes. It's not a record, obviously, but these two teams have been going at it very early on. So, Kaisa and this Rakan moving into the bottom side of the map. It's going to be them placing Vision first, but I imagine a recall is going to have to come out before we get any kind of other movement from Weibo.
35 seconds on the third dragon. This is a Mountain Soul game, so either team would benefit greatly off of improved resistances and a Mountain Soul shield, especially Weibo when you consider how much burst reliant Top Esports truly is. Sustained damage really is only coming out of JackeyLove and Kanavi after the initial trades of ultimates in the crossfire. And right now, Weibo are doing their due diligence and trying to set up priorities in both mid wave as well as the bot wave.
Okay, Weibo should be able to get mid prio first, just because Light only went to red buff. It was JackeyLove looking for a recall. He has Runon's Hurricane, and with them using this Herald, Weibo want to try to grab the first turret of the game here. A teleport's going to come out from Creme. I imagine this turret is still going to fall, but Top Esports are going to look for the contest onto this objective. Ooh. Oh my god, 79 HP on this turret. I don't think it makes a big difference. Still, Feats of Strength going over in the middle of a fight means nothing right now. There are minor upgrades onto those boots, so we're going to go again on the mid lane wave.
Weibo trying to play for first brick first, or at least the priority of the wave so that they can move into the river before Top Esports can get settled. But it's double TPs from both 369 as well as Hong. Now they take control of the river entrance here. Tian's got to be careful. He has flash, dodges the dredge line. Xiaohu is pushing in the wave on the bottom side of the map, so he could set himself up for a flank, which is now why 369 has to answer.
Look at how they're playing and pulling them apart right now, but this is good for Weibo. They do not want to fight JackeyLove on 2 items. Yunara's interaction with the Kraken Slayer buffs and this Runon's Hurricane makes it a very deadly fight, and he's going to have flash up in a few seconds here. 369 as well. He's going to push his last bottom lane wave, and he can connect with the rest of his team. Right now, this is so dangerous. They're going to look for potentially even getting a red buff on Kanavi and JackeyLove. That could increase the damage potential for this team.
There is a ward from Top Esports, so they have full vision of the dragon now at 9,000 HP. I think Weibo are trying to think about pulling away from it. Oh, Breeze getting a lot of damage. Cyclone already into the backline. Light is looking for the assassination of JackeyLove, but there's too many shields, and now Light is in a 1v3. He just gets deleted, and now Weibo are in trouble. All out from Breeze is able to find Kanavi in the back end, but now he's got to deal with Creme on his escape route. Meanwhile, Weibo are dealing with the power of JackeyLove, who is pursuing them to all hell, as Weibo are still on the run, but 369 is pretty much unkillable. He is still so damn tanky on this Scion. Weibo overplaying their hand in the river, and Top Esports punish.
It's not even the dragon, but the fight win going over to Top Esports means that it is incredible. And think about what they got out of this trade here. For Top Esports, they lost the flash on their mid and their jungler, but for Weibo, using that ultimate, this is a huge mistake coming in from Light, thinking that he could find the kill onto JackeyLove. Him and Chris fly in, they get the exhaust down, but like you had noted, the shielding from Hong and from Creme make it impossible for Kaisa to ever win this fight. So from here on out, every single fight win that Weibo are able to grab, that's a great one, but the fight had already been won here by Top Esports.
It seemed like the real punish, the big mistake, is Breathe just taking so much damage on the initial burst, and Weibo not knowing how to really react defensively. They decided, we have to counter-engage, we have to dive deep. And Top Esports come out for the better. The gold advantage is still not massive enough for them to feel like they're taking control, but the first brick is finally awarded over to Top Esports, but feats of strength have yet to be picked up. However, Tian is in trouble, and JackeyLove benefits from another freebie.
I saw some pings going over to the Otacon, but Top Esports, they want to use those grubs right now and get ourselves at least a few jungle camps. It's going to be the second dragon, which means that'll beat our feats of strength going over to Top Esports, the first seed coming into this season, and an incredible bounce back so far. We had some questions whether or not Top Esports were going to be as competitive as we've seen from them, especially with how their split 2 ended, and so far, I feel like we have not really missed a beat outside of their series against BLG.
What I have come to learn about Top Esports now casting LPL for almost a year is that their regular season seems to always excel in dominance. And obviously we're going to have to wait about another month before we get into the playoff stage. But one of the things that does make me smile is them being able to bounce back after the 5th, 6th finish in playoffs last split. Ooh. However, Weibo are going to try a Hail Mary, looking for this Otacon. The rest of Top Esports know something's up. Less than 6,000, 4K HP, 3K.
Can they do it?
It's gonna be close, and Kanavi will say thank you very much for the Otacon. They eliminate Tian off the map, and now Weibo have the turntail. Breathe is trying to set up an all-out for
a JackeyLove.
A switcheroo, but Weibo are starting to fall and collapse at the wayside. JackeyLove is looking for it all, and Top Esports will find the ace at 23 minutes.
Triple kill there for the Yunara, and they get the Otacon at the same time. That feels like it absolutely clinches the game here for Top Esports to start off this series. God damn, Top Esports, you are so good when you're in the regular season. Just the smite steal there from Kanavi, 2 of our junglers there in the pit at the same time, and I like the idea of the fight there from Weibo. You have a Aurora and a Kaisa. The ability to burst down these objectives is incredibly strong. but not enough time to be able to actually stop the rest of this. And the pincer maneuver, you have Creme and 369 as solo lanes walking in, and look where all the damage dealers are right now. They're at the top of this fight. No one is pressuring JackeyLove. No one is pressuring Top Esports away from this objective. So Weibo, they lose everything here.
When you're put into a position like this, Weibo just have to throw hands out and see if they can try and hands gap Top Esports at this point, but they were already so behind in gold. They were behind of the stat curve, and now the gold advantage has ballooned to almost a point that is just Weibo cannot
unplayable.
Overcome. Yeah, it's done and dusted here, unless Top Esports just send a miraculous throw for the sake of Weibo's sanity, but I don't think that's happening from our top 2 team in Top Esports.
Hey, look, Top Esports, they've been known to have a few games, happy games. I don't think it's going to be from this position, but hey, anything's possible. IG are playing today, so there's some voodoo in the air right now. It's going to be 2 turrets being taken in the mid and bottom lane here for Top Esports while Breathe makes a trade. No teleport for this Cassante, so he'll have to hoof it on over. We've got Baron spawning in a few moments. This could be another situation where you see Weibo try to make a play onto this objective with the Aurora and the Kaisa, with how kind of futile this game is starting to feel. Maybe there's an angle here, and if JackeyLove overstays, definitely.
If Light can get to 3 items, there's a chance. Is it a big one? Probably not, but there is a chance. Because I've seen LPL Kaisas.
Me when I have my copium inhaler, bro.
Crazy thing. Listen. I'm trying to make it interesting. Trying to give the silver lining to any Weibo fans in the chat, especially our Weibo Gaming Socials guy. Definitely needs it as Top Esports maintaining priority over the mid wave right now. 8,000 gold ahead. Item differentials almost maxed out, at least 1 per person. Oh my goodness, snap engage from Tian and JackeyLove.
What are we doing?
Flashes away, but Light is going to send it on to JackeyLove, but they can't kill him! JackeyLove is immortal! And Breathe can't even finish the job! You try to step to JackeyLove and you're gonna get it!
What the hell was that? I mean, Weibo, they thought, hey, we have to jump on JackeyLove. He has flash, he has barrier, he gets all of the shielding from his team. That just feels like it's going to be the end of the game. Xiaohu's the only one that's alive. They have Tibbers as well, 3 grubs. Top Esports now find themselves with a 10,000 gold lead. The Baron on top of that. And if they couldn't kill him here, then hell, man, they're not killing him any other point in this game.
That felt like the Hail Mary from Weibo. Just try to send everyone into the back line. They burned the barrier, they burned the flash, and it just wasn't enough. The Baron will be secured for Top Esports just under 27 minutes with a massive 12,000 gold advantage here in our first game of the series.
This is part of the reason why Yunara is also a little bit broken. The amount of mobility, the movement speed he's getting from the Conmay steps, goes into his ultimate, he gets the dash on top of it. It's just tough, and he has a huge lead. Not just individually with the gold, but remember this team got the Otacon. Look how much healing and shielding he's getting access to on top of the experience differential that he has. It's really impressive to see JackeyLove on his A game here. Something we haven't really seen in a lot of the earlier series of 2025, but again, we talked about it in the pre-show. Top Esports feels like they are starting to ramp up, especially in anticipation of the playoffs.
This is the form that Top Esports need to consistently be in for the rest of this second round robin. Because if Top Esports can do that, I will believe. I will be a believer. I know that many of my colleagues around the world, they see the Top Esports domestic dominance, then come international stage and it's disappointment. But if they can deliver, I will be on the train.
They can win an LPL title. Let's hold out for international. I'm one of those colleagues, okay? let's wait. Let's wait.
To be fair, you've been watching more LPL than I have, so I completely understand.
Well, I remember our loss to GAM. That one hurt a lot. So we've got Top Esports finishing this one out. Baron here for another minute and a half. I mean, Tian uses his ultimate. It's not enough.
Yeah, the Crescent Guard ain't gonna do squat. Weibo just doing whatever they can to defend the remnants of their base, but they're dropping like flies, one after another, and Top Esports will not lose a single man. Xiaohu flashes 0-7 to the rest of his fallen comrades, because he's gonna have to watch his Nexus crumble and burn. Top Esports lead the series against Weibo Gaming 1-0.
I think Top Esports are feeling really good about that trade. Again, second round robin, second time we've seen these teams be able to play, and for Top Esports, it's still looking more of the same from what we get from them. Incredibly aggressive League of Legends, playing around Kanavi's advantage, and even with some early kills going Tian's way, you just got to see all that gold go right into JackeyLove's pocket, and they just played the game so cleanly from that point on.
I was so hopeful for the side of Weibo off of that early game because Top Esports found a great invade angle, trying to put Tian on the back foot. And how does Tian react? He notices that Creme is overextended and he goes for an easy pick, is able to influence top lane to a T. But unfortunately, as we have come to learn, early game advantages can only get you so far if you're not able to continuously leverage them successfully after every single sequence. And then as soon as we see the mishap at the Dragon River fight, the advantage is gone.
The Dragon River fight, and I know we were talking about Creme going into this series, but Xiaohu, I think part of it is the matchup, right? Just being able to play Annie, all you have to do is press R on the minion wave right next to the Aurora, and then it's really tough for her to be able to match, at least as easily. But Jesus Christ, man, every single objective in the first 15 minutes, it just felt like Creme always had first move, or if Xiaohu was there first, it was because he was dropping a wave in anticipation.
That's the power of Annie priority right there. Even if you are not necessarily a big carry in these team fights, that was not Creme's role this game. And I think that is just relatively smart drafting from Top Esports, understanding what the current form of the roster is performing like, and just saying, you know what? We're not going to put the huge burden of responsibility to be a mega teamfight carry just yet for you, Creme. Let's give JackeyLove the Yunara. Let's give Kanavi the Wukong. All you got to do is facilitate and set up alongside Hong and 369. And it was simple, but it was effective.
Yep. Things to kind of think about there for Weibo. We didn't really get to see them play the map all that well, I think, with how muted a lot of this game felt. I definitely could have seen this game going a little bit longer in terms of game duration, but not only did Xiaohu have a really weird performance, I think we're going to have to really take a deeper look at Light's Kaisa, because that ultimate where he flies right into the backline versus JackeyLove, I know that's pretty vague in terms of the description, but the first one we saw around bottom lane, 3 people immediately collapse on him and he dies. That is your only backline consistent carry there at that point. So Light needs to kind of chill a little bit. He won't have the same tools thanks to Fearless and the champion being banned, but it certainly doesn't help when your AD carry is also flying in and dying instantaneously.
I would almost vouch for Light if he had made the play where both Tian and Crisp burned the summoner spells off of JackeyLove in the initial burst. Had that happen at the point where they weren't that far down in gold. But by the time they make the Hail Mary, I mean, JackeyLove is at 3.5 items. Light is just barely finishing his second. So you are just not a match in terms of stats, and JackeyLove is going to be able to have the whole world at his feet in that play. So I imagine that Weibo going into these next games, they have to remind themselves, hey, if we're going to be flipping these big fights, we have to all commit at the same time, or we don't at all.
Honestly, going into this next game, I assume that with Weibo moving over to the blue side after this, they're going to be looking for some kind of bot lane pair that either opens up support to move or has an ability to push the wave early. Because I think in a top esports meta, and in a matchup where you're playing against Kanavi, you are not allowed to let their bottom lane get pushed early. I refuse to allow this. You're going to let Kanavi invade your bottom side jungle. You're going to then set up for certain plays where you're not only cut out early, but then your bottom lane might be subject to dives within the first 7 to 8 minutes of the game. I just don't think that that's a winning strategy when you look at how top esports have constructed wins all of 2025.
Just watching the replays back over is reminding us of where Weibo could have really polished and tightened up some fights, and things might have gone differently. And this Otacon definitely was not the last Hail Mary, but it definitely felt like one where Weibo were saying, let's just blitz this, let's secure this. If we get it, even if we die, maybe we'll be able to come back, but it's the worst scenario possible. The smite steal from Kanavi, they all die. They don't really get any kills back. It's back to the drawing board for sure, and I really want to see Weibo play to their identity more, because it was something that you had brought up that after the first 7 minutes where they were making pretty smart map trades, then they stopped doing so, and they started opting into the hands checking against top esports, and that always seems to be a risky maneuver.
They also just started every fight with 1 or 2 members down a quarter of their HP at the very least, which always going to be pretty dangerous. Again, we talk about the Kai'Sa play where Breathe gets engaged upon as Cassante. He takes half of his HP, and then Kai'Sa tries to trade with Crisp. That doesn't end up working. We talk about the Dragon play. Xiaohu gets chunked to half HP, and then he has to kind of walk around. That's not ever really going to be a play. So, yeah, I think thinking about which plays are allowed, which ones are we allowed to take? Are we looking to try to fight? Okay, hey, sometimes we have to make on-the-fly decision-making. Okay, our mid laner just took a pretty bad chunk. Can we still contest? Yeah. Or are we going to look to maybe move on the other side of the map? It's tricky, especially when you're in the moment. You'd expect a little bit higher or more from these players with the pedigrees outside of maybe a player like Hung. But I don't know. They had a decent enough early game, like you had mentioned, but we got to objective setups, and top esports are not a team that are going to allow you to have any moment of weakness, because they are instantly going to pounce on you.
Especially in this dominant regular season form that they are continuing to show split after split. I'm hearing the MVP music. I imagine it's Kanavi. Oh! I shouldn't have questioned it. The JackeyLove Yunara was kind of flashy, and he survived in both dive encounters, which basically ensured the demise of Weibo and any chance for them to try and make a comeback in that game. So, no complaints for me.
It was pretty clean. I won't lie, I was really excited to see JackeyLove play this champion, and glad that we got it here in the first game. Thankfully, it's gone for the rest of the series, so we'll see what else JackeyLove has up in store for Light.
Yep. Top esports do end up leading the series 1-0. We'll see if Weibo can form a comeback, or if it's just going to be a close, more of a swift 2-0 from top esports. We'll see you on the other side of this break.